Here are the dudes.
Three. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Golf Dudes podcast. I'm Joe Calabro. Hope you all had a great Thursday. Amazing day out, beautiful day. Unbelievable. We're getting better weather in October than we did in pretty much all summer. So I hope everyone had a great Thursday. Hope everyone got out and hit some golf balls around. I'm taping this portion of the podcast from Cranberry Country Club in the card room. I played golf on Thursday morning. I keep trying to not play golf anymore for this year. I keep trying to be done for the season, and I keep getting pulled back in. But obviously, it was a beautiful day out, and despite back injuries from sleeping wrong or sitting wrong, I don't really know what I did. But I ended up getting to playing and grinding it out. So I had a couple of pars and a birdie. I birdied the ninth hole at Cooke, so I'll take it. So great day. Again, hope you guys all had a great day as well. A couple of things to get to. We do have an interview with former Vermont basketball star Joey Accaoui coming up, so we'll get to that. I figured do something different this week. It's basketball season. The Celtics started last night. Providence college basketball starts in about a week. Obviously, college basketball in general starts in about a week. So we talked to Joey about his basketball career, about his new obsession, which is golf, and a few other things. Really a fun conversation. So we'll get that for you in a short period of time. A couple of things to hit on real quick here on the Golf Dudes podcast. Shout out to Bobby Leopold and his brother-in-law Tyler Cooke on winning the 4-ball. It's their back-to-back 4-ball wins for Leopold and Cooke, and their fourth 4-ball championship overall. So congrats to them. I think they finished 9 under, if I'm not mistaken, to win the tournament by one shot. So good for them. Again, the 4-ball was supposed to be held in May, but it was rained out. They moved it to October at Agawam, Hunt, and Quinnesset. I hear from players in the field that both courses were in amazing shape, which is a good sign. And I've played Quinnesset once. I think I played it early. I played it earlier this year, and that was the first time I ever played it, and it was very nice. Pretty scenery, some cool tee shots. So, uh, so congrats to Bobby and Tyler Cooke on winning the 4-ball. That ended, of course, Wednesday, and we have the article up on GolfNewsRI.com. And the other thing, obviously, going on, we're following Q-School. Will Dixon appears he was not going to get out of stage one. He's 3 over par right now through Thursday's round. And excuse me, it looks like the cut is going to be around 8 under. So people are going low with these Q-School. I mean, last week we followed Chris Francoeur. The cut was like 11 under. This week the cut is going to be at least 8 under, if not more. So guys have to go low, and it's too bad that no Rhode Islanders are going to advance. Just all 3 of them. If you look at all 3, Andrew O'Leary, Chris Francoeur, and Will Dixon, all 3 of them got off to bad starts, and you can't do that. They all got to bad starts in that first round, second round, and O'Leary was 4 over through, the first 2 rounds. Chris Francoeur was over par through the first round or 2, and Will Dixon got off to an amazing start. He was 4 under after the first 10 holes, and then he went bogey, double, bogey, birdie, bogey, and to kind of set him back, and he never really recovered. So, not that I know anything about playing these Q-School things, and obviously pressure is a lot of pressure, but it appears that you have to get off to a good start, and that would have been key. I think if Will or any of these other guys had gotten off to a better start, maybe been on the par in that first round, at least kind of put yourself in the mix inside the cut, whatever it meant. Will was 4 under through 10. He was well inside the cut at the time. Things can change. You got some momentum, but bad starts, and especially in Q-School, it's tough to chase these tournaments, and that's what kind of you're seeing from the Rhode Islanders, at least through those with those 3. So it looks like the Q-School coverage, unfortunately, is coming to an end. It's pretty interesting. It's been pretty interesting to follow. There are a few Massachusetts guys that are playing, so maybe we'll keep track of them. The only other question really is, again, we've talked about this before, is if Patrick Welch and Davis Chatfield end up signing up for stage 2 of Q-School. They haven't given their finishes on the Corn Ferry Tour this past season. They have an exemption into stage 2 of Q-School. a chance to finish top 5 in the Q school, kind of through final stage and get their PGA Tour card. So they have an opportunity to play stage 2. I'm not sure if they will or not. I'm not sure if the tee sheets are out for the stage 2 locations, but it could be something to keep an eye on, and we will keep an eye on that for you at GolfNewsRI. Maybe they just pledge for kind of shits and giggles type of thing. They really have nothing to lose. Obviously, again, they already have locked up status for next season on the Corn Ferry Tour, so there's nothing to lose. So that's the only thing we're really watching for now, as far as Q School is concerned. So that's kind of the local stuff. Football, Bobby Leopold and Tyler Cooke won. And then Q School is not looking good for Will Dixon, and it didn't go well for the other Rhode Islanders in the field. So that's unfortunate for sure. So that is kind of what we have on the Golf Dudes podcast. Again, I hope you all had a great golf round today. Again, I played my first round in a couple weeks since Wanamaoisit for the Berg Fun tournament, and it was good. I'm happy I played. My body is a little sore because I did something wrong. It says it's a sign that you're getting old. Things hurt that you never even thought would hurt before. So, but I had a great day, and so looking forward to focusing on content for the rest of the year. Perhaps we get a November round in. You never know. Apparently Saturday is supposed to be 80 degrees. I just found that out. So who knew? We're getting better. Like I said, we're getting better weather in October than we did like all summer long. So yeah, so there's that. So the Joey Accaoui interview, I talked to him on Wednesday night. We taped it Wednesday night before the Celtics game tipped off, and really fun stuff. We actually overlapped in college. He went to Vermont. I went to the University of Hartford. We played against each other. Our schools played against each other. I obviously did not play basketball, so it was actually kind of fun um, to chat with him and talk about basketball and his career. He actually went overseas, which I didn't realize. After he graduated 1 year after I did, and we just talked about basketball. He talked some college hoops. We talked about the NBA, and obviously we talked a little bit about his career. He's obviously he graduated in 2011, went pro overseas after that. So we didn't go too much into the weeds of it because obviously he's several years removed from his playing career. But we talked about some hoops. We talked about some different stuff. We talked about his favorite game he's played, which was at Providence all those years ago. So it was really a fun interview. Figured we'd do something different. Basketball season. Everyone's excited for the Celtics. Everyone's excited for college basketball. I'm a huge college basketball junkie, back from when I used to cover the sport many years ago. So really fun interview with Joey Accaoui. Hope you all enjoy it. And he's now obsessed with golf, which is pretty funny as well. So without further ado, here's my interview with former Vermont basketball star Joey Accaoui. All right, and welcome back to the Golf Dudes podcast. Doing something different this week. It's basketball season. I love basketball. You all love basketball. So I figured let's get a basketball star on for a little while and talk some hoops and golf. Welcome Joey Accaoui to the podcast, former Vermont basketball star.
I don't know about star, but I appreciate the invite. This is awesome.
Thanks so much for coming on. You just came off the course. We're taping this at Kirkbride, in case you haven't guessed. But you just came off the course. How did it go out there? A beautiful October day.
Yeah, it was awesome. Weather's is turning a little bit. Anytime you can sort of get out there in October is great. So a lot of leaves, but with the leaf rule that they have here, it helps a little bit.
You former basketball player, probably still hoop. Now you're obsessed with golf, as we were just talking before we recorded. So right now, what do you have more confidence in, your tee shot or your jump shot?
Depends what day. I haven't touched a basketball in a while.
Really?
I'd probably say, probably still a jump shot. I think, I need a little bit of a warm up, but my tee shot's starting to catch up a little bit. It's tough, man. Obviously I don't play as much basketball as I would like to. It's just you worry about getting hurt, and it's the weekend warrior type injury. So hard to get hurt on the golf course. So I'd much rather stick to that right now.
I'm sure people have found ways.
Yeah, I know, especially here. Right?
Um, we're gonna get into some of the basketball stuff. Obviously, we're taping this on Wednesday, so the Celtics start in like an hour, and college basketball, which I'm excited about, is right around the corner. So we'll get into some of that stuff. But for you, uh, when did you catch the golf bug? When did that hit for you? Now you're just telling me you're obsessed with it, which is great. But when did it kind of hit you?
Yeah, I mean, it hit me, probably like towards the end of my overseas career when I was, say 2017, 2018, is when I started to really get into it. A lot of my friends were playing it, and we'd get out and we'd mess around. But once I started playing, it was like, all right, I'm tired of messing around, and I get frustrated. I want to start to get better. And so I started to slowly play more. And then with work and what I do now, you find ways to play and business, sort of mingle there, and wanted to get better because of that. It's sort of embarrassing if you go out there with people you work with, they're not playing that good. So the combination of all that and just you start to get out there. It's funny, like everything that I used to do in basketball and like the itch of wanting to get better, just I struggled for a while. Like, how do I move that itch? And between what I do now for work and golf, it's like I figured that out, which is awesome. So
Do you find that because I'm a huge JJ Redick fan of his podcast, and he was talking about retiring. Obviously, he's retired from the NBA, and he was talking about how golf kind of helps him fill that kind
yeah,
of void,
yeah,
the
like
competitive void.
yeah.
Is that similar to you that it kind of helps you
Yeah,
kind of
first
fill
off,
that spot?
huge JJ Redick fan. Love Old Man and the Three. Like
That's
that's
what
a
I mean.
great podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it does. You're for like my whole life, like it was competition and competitiveness, and honestly, joining Kirkbrey has probably brought that competitiveness more because when you're playing out with your friends and stuff like that, it's a little different. But now being here, all the different events that they do in the little tournaments, like I'm much more competitive in those because they mean something. They mean a little bit more. That's what I really loved about the Ryder Cup with that Kirkbride did with Alpine. It was like that was the first time I really felt like, okay, there's some competition here. So it definitely does, and it has filled that void. And you get out with the right group of people, and it's a competition for sure. So
Awesome. So basketball season's approaching. This time of year, especially for in college, do you get the itch? Do you kind of flash back to when you were in college and like, boy, we're a week away from the season. Can we just
yeah,
like get this going? Or
yeah. No, I mean I definitely think about it a lot and like remember this time of year now. You're playing some like exhibition style games, and they just have like Midnight Madness and all that stuff, and it's fun. I definitely once you get closer to like March Madness and like you see the conference tournaments, that's when I'm like, oh man, like that's where that because coming playing at Vermont, mid-major type school, your only chance to get to the tournament is
Mhm.
during that weekend. And that's when it itches more. I get the itch more to like, oh man, like I miss those days for sure.
You played in, I don't know, were you one of the Vermont teams that made the NCAA
Yeah, so
tournament?
we went
Because
to
I know you
NCAA
played
tournament.
NIT
Yeah,
and
yeah,
CBI.
yeah. So we went to every postseason when I was at Vermont. My junior year, we went to the NCAA tournament. So that was an experience of a lifetime.
What was that like? I mean, obviously we're months away now from the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
We can reuse this clip.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I mean it was like I went to Vermont because, I knew I wasn't going to play at like a high major type school where you'd have a chance every year to go to the tournament. And so I wanted, Vermont was also like a great opportunity for me and something I was waiting for because like every year they're playing to get to the tournament. I mean, over the last 15, 20 years, probably it's crazy to think it's been that long. But since TJ Sorrentine and those guys, like the expectation at Vermont was to get to the NCAA tournament. And so finally to do it my junior year and be on a special team, it was a lot of fun. It was everything I dreamed about. I think we were so excited. You sort of get caught up in everything that leads up to the game, and then you get to the game, and it's like, wow, like there's a lot going on here. But that week was crazy because we win our conference tournament. We find out who we're playing. They do the selection Sunday. You get chartered out somewhere, and It's a dream. It was just an unbelievable experience, and it's hard not to rethink about that when March Madness comes around. So
What was your what's your basketball memory? Is there a game that sticks out to you? Is it the NCAA tournament against,
yeah,
a top? I'm assuming you guys must have played a top seeded team,
yeah,
top-ish seeded team.
for sure.
But is there a game or two that
Yeah,
sticks out to you when you think about
yeah,
your
probably
career?
probably that in the NCAA tournament, but also the championship game. In our America East tournament to go to the NCAA tournament against. We played Boston University, and it was at home in Vermont, and all my family friends are there, packed gym. It's on ESPN. It's like you're playing for a chance to go to the tournament. So that game, and I'm probably like wasn't too great of a memory because we lost, but playing against Providence at the dunk was like a dream. To growing up a PC fan, as you and I talked about, and
Mhm.
to play them and come home, and I think I had like 60 or 70 people there, and that was a lot of fun. So those are probably the two things that I remember most.
And what was it like going overseas? Everybody, you see everybody, a lot of guys, not everybody, but a lot of guys go overseas and try to play pro. Ed Croswell is over there, Nate
Yeah,
Watson's over there now, just a recent guys. What was that? Talk about that experience and what
yeah.
that's like for an American to go
Yeah.
overseas and
Yeah,
play.
actually it's funny. I played with a lot of former Friars while I was over
Oh,
there.
really? Oh,
Herbert Hill,
yeah,
Marcus Douthit, some of the names that you probably Garnett
yeah.
Thompson, some of these guys that so it was pretty cool. It's like it was sort of crazy to play with some of them. Um, but it was awesome to be honest. I was very fortunate because I had, a passport. So I didn't necessarily count as an American, and overseas you only get two Americans on each team. So because I had a passport, in some places I could play as a local, so it helped me a lot in my career there. But it was an awesome experience. I mean, I played I think total of 7 years, um, and the experience to continue playing basketball was awesome. To actually do it for money was awesome. It's a completely different, you know, world of basketball. It truly is a business. You're playing every year for a contract, so there's a lot of unknowns in the summertime going into an off season, and fortunately for me, I was able to keep going and play against some really good players and former NBA guys, and um, I was lucky enough to do it for as long as I did. As I told you, I wish I picked up golf sooner, but unfortunately, basketball overseas held that up a little bit. So
Well, now you're playing golf all the time,
yeah,
and you're down to a single digit. Or you're almost down to a single
yeah, I'm down
digit.
to a single digit. It was a goal of mine to start the year. Um, joining a place like Kirkbride and having the resources here with, you know, uh, first off, a lot of really good players here.
Mhm.
But the practice facility, and I play a lot more on the weekends, in terms of golf, but on the weekdays, being able to come here, 5, 6 o'clock and chip and do some of these things, like that's what's helped me personally. And my family loves it here. My daughters obviously, and my wife enjoy the pool, and so it's made it easy. And that's what's helped me come down is, you're able to come out here and chip, play a few holes, and enjoy the facility. So
Yeah, obviously Calabro is a great place. I'm biased, but I've been
yeah,
here for a while.
yeah.
But it's a great place, and I stink, but I enjoy the
Yeah,
camaraderie of
yeah.
the camaraderie of the
Some great,
sport.
some great guys here, that's
Yeah,
for sure. So
absolutely. I want to get into some analysis. Basketball season's here. You're a big Celtics fan.
yep,
You're still a PC fan. Obviously,
yep,
Vermont is your school, but at least my school is now Division III. We actually overlapped in college a little
yeah,
bit
yeah. We
at
talked about that.
Hartford. I didn't
Unfortunately,
play basketball, thankfully, but
yeah. Unfortunately, we
yeah,
beat them up a little bit too much, but
yeah.
they were good though. They weren't
Yeah,
bad. So
they had some lovable teams.
yeah,
Our women's team
your
was
women's team
our
was really
team.
good, really good.
Our women's team was our team, and I always
Yeah.
root for the Connecticut Sun a little bit because of Generosati.
Mm-hmm.
Generosati is the president.
Yep.
I believe she's still the president of the
Yep.
Connecticut Sun, so I always root for them, just for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, our women's team was our bread and butter. That got me
Yeah.
to the NCAA tournament at Duke. one year, my senior year, we charted down with the team.
Oh wow, that's
to
awesome.
NCAA tournament,
Oh wow.
Cameron Indoor
Yeah,
Stadium.
that's one thing
So
I wish
that
we
was pretty
played
cool.
Duke to
So.
play in Cameron, because that looks like the 2 years after I graduated Vermont, they played at Duke, and that looked like like an experience to be able to go
Yeah.
down there.
Unfortunately, when we were there were no students because it was NCAA tournament. It was
Yeah,
hard for it against. I think we played LSU or whatever.
Yeah.
But just to be in the arena
History.
in that place, it
Yeah.
was pretty cool. It was one of my favorite college memories. Your memories are on the court. My memories are watching,
Yeah.
watching from the sidelines.
Well,
And they still are.
we're making new memories now.
I still watch from the sidelines. See, Celtics start in tonight again. We're taping this on Wednesday. What do you think about the Celtics? Drew Holiday comes in. Obviously Tatum and Brown, it should lead them, but
yeah, different team, much different team, right? I mean, when you look at them, you bring in somebody like Porzingis, really spaces the floor. They'll be exciting to watch. I was worried for a while. You lose somebody like Marcus Smart and the toughness that he brings, but then they figure out a way to get Drew Holiday, and it's, in my opinion, a little bit of an upgrade. I think I think more on the offensive side. I think he's an upgrade compared to Marcus Smart. So it'll be interesting to see how they work. The other thing is, like, you see somebody like Peyton Pritchard probably need to play more and step up, and signs a new contract, and so they'll be interesting. But you've got Tatum and Brown, man. I mean, probably arguably the best duo in the NBA right now. So a lot of expectations on them. The East got better, right, with the Bucks signing Damian Lillard, and so
the Knicks should be decent.
Yeah, the Knicks will be good. I mean, there's some talks now with Joel Embiid and what happens there, so could be some moving parts. But I'm excited, man. I think the Celtics are going to be, I think they'll be better, and they obviously had to make a lot of offseason moves after the way the year ended. So excited to see what that looks like. But the NBA is so weird, man. Like, the regular season, all stuff, like, doesn't really matter, and then the playoffs come around, and then it's like, you get an acquisition here or there, and the game changes, and so, like, the Celtics have always been really good throughout the regular season, but the postseason is where it matters. That's why I love the college basketball game more. But
I'm a bigger college basketball fan than I am an NBA fan. Obviously, I still like the NBA. I'm similar to you, where I watch certain players. Like, I'm really excited for Chris Dunn.
Yep.
He got the guaranteed contract with in Utah.
Jazz,
my buddy JJ is a big Utah Jazz fan. He thinks that Chris has a chance to start this year.
Yeah, I mean,
so I'm really excited for him. I might get the NBA. Was it NBA package, whatever it's called, League Pass. Your League Pass, just to watch his games. But I watch all his press conferences on YouTube. I covered him when he was at PC, so he's like kind of my favorite. I say he's my favorite NBA player, but everyone's like, how can that be? But that's, I mean, he
got back into the NBA and had a great finish to last year.
Amazing finish to last year. Well, he was killing it in the G League. And then he finally got. I'm watching his G League games, not every game, but a lot of them. And I'm like, when is this guy gonna? Somebody's gonna give this guy a shot.
Yeah.
But it's just so hard to make. Like anything else in the pros, it's so hard to make it. And finally, Utah gave him a shot, and he killed it for them. And now he killed it in the preseason. I watched a few of his clips. So it's great to see him get a full year guaranteed contract at Utah. Hopefully, he starts. They're obviously rebuilding, but start somewhere. And college game. We just had Big East Media Day. All my media friends were down there at the Garden. PC picked 7th. You're a little disappointed. I thought they were going to get 5th or 6th. 6th was at the furthest side. I think it feels like Patino is getting a lot of credit for
a lot of credit for it's probably rebuilding. Providence brings everybody back but Jared Bynum, and they add a lot of really big pieces in Maduro, ticket gains. It's hard to understand, like, how they. I mean, they finished last year in the top 4 probably. I think
they finished 5th.
Fifth was it 5th? Yeah. So, like, they should have been in that probably 3 to 5 range, in my opinion. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, as Kim English said, none of that matters to him.
Well, of course. And Dan Hurley said that's all bullshit.
Yeah,
that's all bullshit.
He said Jordan Hawkins. I think his quote was Jordan Hawkins wasn't picked on any preseason team last year, and he led them to a national championship, and he's a lottery pick. So we'll see.
I guess the one concern I would have as a PC fan, and it's kind of the unknown, is just Kim English and his kind of X's and O's type of thing coming from you know, the A10
A10, yep,
to
yep,
the Big East, where you know,
yep.
no offense, but it's a different,
Different game.
different.
Yeah, different game.
So that'd be the one concern I have, and maybe that's what kind
Yeah.
of.
But what he said
But he
yesterday,
also has all the players.
yeah, he has great talent. But what he said yesterday too is their focus is on defense. His quote was like, "Defense travels well in the suitcase," which I love because he's got that doesn't matter what level it's at, right? Like if it's in the A10 or in the Big East or wherever it is, like that's his philosophy, his mentality, and he's got pieces. I mean, you look at like Devin Carter, somebody like that who's tenacious on the defensive end. Um, they'll be good, man. And then they have a star in Bryce Hopkins. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited for that Georgetown game.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
27.
excited for
That's
most.
gonna be wild.
That's gonna be wild.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited for November 6th against Columbia.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But I
but
understand what you're
that
saying.
game
I get what
is
you're
gonna
saying.
be. I mean, that's
It's
gonna be.
unfortunately it's at noontime.
Yeah, well, they moved it because they didn't want people to be too wired for
Yeah,
the
well,
6 o'clock
the
start. It's not gonna
PC
be
students are gonna.
it's not gonna be no
It's not
I'll
gonna
get
get
that
that
right
much.
there.
Yeah, it's gonna be probably the most. That might be the most anticipated college basketball game of
Yeah.
around here in
Oh,
a
for
long,
sure,
long time.
for sure.
It was interesting. People say, "What you know?" People talking about how crazy that game is going to be. Years and years ago, I went to the game where Rick Pitino returned for the first time in Louisville, and I thought
Oh
that was
wow.
crazy at the time. This is going to be like double that.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be bigger than a URI game for sure, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, it's just gonna be there. People are waiting for this. So
Oh yeah. Tickets are going to be sold out. The cheapest
there's
ticket
now
was
it's
like
like
$500
yeah, yeah. I
just
mean,
to get in the door.
in the door, you know. Um, so yeah, it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting.
What do you think about the just in general the college basketball scene with the NIL now? Obviously, it's a lot different than when you played when I covered Hartford for all intents and purposes. But what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on the whole scene now?
Yeah, I mean it's
You could have made some money.
yeah, I mean it's funny, like the Vermont guys now, they, obviously there's a huge difference in,
Of course,
what,
but
Bryce
still,
Hopkins is made, but some of the Vermont
but
guys
still,
are making some money, and there's a lot of local sponsorships up there in local places and they utilize them well. And but when you look at like the larger landscape in some of the bigger schools, it's interesting, man. I mean, I don't know the details, but I know like Bryce Hopkins and Devin Carter were waiting to see what their packages looked like, even like a Jaden Pierre. Because it's now coming down to how much money can I make? And you're seeing people leaving. I mean, what's the center from Creighton?
Calabro.
No, the other guy, like the 6'8", I'm blanking on his name, but he leaves because he's in a great spot at Creighton. They're really good. He leaves because he can make more money. Pooh Alexander too. I think his name is
Alexander.
Posher Alexander leaves because he can make more money somewhere else. It's like, it's
I think it's a Butler.
Butler.
Right?
He's within the conference,
Right?
So it essentially,
Like Head Cooley.
yeah, it essentially becomes like it becomes free agency like in the NBA every year,
Right.
because it's where can I go make more money. And as a player, like, not that I was at that level, but yeah, I support that, they should make money because the NCAA is making a lot of money. But there's got to be a balance where you're not seeing like people leave at the end of the year because of, other opportunities, and like they essentially almost don't have to sit out sometimes. So
Right, depending on their circumstances.
correct.
I guess that was one of the things that kept Hopkins and Carter here was I believe if they transferred again, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain because this was going around at the time. I believe if they had transferred again, they might have had to sit out a year
I would hope so. I mean,
because there's two transfers.
yeah, that
So I'm pretty sure that was part. I don't know if that was the reason. I'm not
yeah.
trying to say that was the only reason why they stayed, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain that was part of the reason why, they
it would make
inclined to do
sense,
that.
man. It would make sense. So, it's amazing. It's good for these kids. You see somebody like Armando Bacot who comes back to North Carolina, even though he could have been probably a pro, and probably realizes that he can make more money. It's different in football. I mean, football is another level of it, but certainly, like I said, I think it's good for the students, man. Like they deserve um to they deserve to reap the benefits of their name, image, and like whatever what does L stand for in NIL? Yeah, like they deserve to take advantage of that the way the schools are. So
yeah, it's going to be a fascinating basketball season, both in the NBA and obviously in college. Again, you're a bigger college fan than NBA, and I'm a bigger college fan than NBA as well. Although I say like the NBA, so It should be a fascinating year, but listen,
Sure.
thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank you,
joining
man.
me.
Thank you for
Really
having me.
appreciate it. And good luck the rest of this
Yeah,
golf.
yeah.
Hopefully you got a few more rounds in.
Yeah, I
Hopefully the
don't
weather
know.
stays
I don't know.
warm.
It's maybe like, they're punching the greens here soon, so we'll
Uh,
be we'll be just pitting the simulator in the off season. So
yeah, there's plenty of indoor simulator
yeah,
places
definitely,
around. We just did a
definitely.
big story about that last week on Golf News, right?
Yeah,
So Joey, thank you so
of
much. I
course,
really
man. Thank you for
appreciate it.
having me, man. Appreciate it.
That's Joey Accaoui, from former Vermont basketball star, now turned golfer. Obsessed,
Yeah,
obsessed golfer.
yeah, not star just yet. Not star
Not
just yet.
star, but soon to
Not,
be. Upset with,
my goal is to beat Mike Hamilton. So
well, that's a lofty goal.
yeah.
But he has to give you like 10 shots
No, he's
probably.
got to give me 20. If he's watching
20,
this, I get 20 shots, man.
20 shots.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We'll send this clip to him and see what happens. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. We'll be right back on the Golf Dudes podcast. And welcome back to the Golf Dudes podcast. Thanks so much to Joey Accaoui for sitting down with me for a few minutes and chatting, talking about some hoops again. Figured do something different. Everyone's excited for the basketball season to get started. So I figured see if he would be interested. And it was a great conversation again. I didn't get too much into the weeds with him about it. He's several years removed from his career. So I wanted to keep it pretty basic, but a really good conversation, and thanks to him for coming on. Again, we're all excited for college basketball season. I'm a huge college basketball fan, as many of you know. So it was great to chat with him. There's not much going on. I think there's a PGA Tour tournament coming up. It's kind of a weird time of year for golf, but it is turkey trot season, and it is starting to be indoor golf season. Of course, we had our big feature on indoor golf last week. We were at Golf 365 RI. I'm sure many of you saw the content from there. Our friend Peter Walsh's new place that opened up, so check that out. And obviously check out our good friends at Inside Links in Cumberland. Next week is supposed to be in the 40s, so a great time to head indoors and keep that swing loose. So check that out as well. But obviously quiet time in the golf world, but still a handful of things going on. We'll have Will Dixon's Q-School round covered, final round covered on Friday. Again, he's 3 over par for the tournament, and the cut is 8 under. So barring something crazy happening, it's hard to see him making the cut. And it's just too bad. None of the Rhode Islanders made the cut to stage 2 again. The biggest question that we're going to watch now is, do Davis Chatfield and Patrick Walsh play in stage 2 to try to get an opportunity to earn their PGA Tour cards in final stage? So we don't know what the answer is. I personally doesn't feel like they're going to play. I haven't heard much about it. I haven't seen them, anything on social media as far as them practicing or getting ready. So it feels like they're just going to take the Korn Ferry Tour year 2 and go from there, which I probably would do the same thing. But maybe they play Q-School, and they have nothing to lose again, like I said. So we'll see what happens. But that's what we have for the Golf Dudes podcast. Thanks again to Joey Accaoui for coming on. Next week, be sure to tune in, same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll have some more stuff coming up for you. Also, actually, before I log off, I should tell you that tentatively, because these things change, tentatively November 8th, we are going to be launching the GolfNewsRI Gift of Golf holiday podcast. We did this in 2021 to great success, and we have a few golf brands or golf companies lined up for this year. We skipped it in 2022. We're doing it again this year. So tentatively November 8th the show will air. There'll be discounts, deals, and all kinds of stuff. So stay tuned for that. We'll have more information on that next week once I have a better idea of how many brands we have and all this other stuff. But tentatively November 8th, that is going to air. So looking forward to that. It's almost the holiday season. It's unbelievable to say, but it's almost here. So anyways, with that said, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for the continued support. Really appreciate it. The social media posts that I've been tagged in the last few weeks been really cool. Obviously, you don't necessarily do this for that, but it's always great to see that kind of stuff, and it's greatly appreciated. And hopefully we're looking forward to keeping this going and have a couple of projects lined up for the fall and winter. And hopefully you guys all have fun with them as much as we're having fun with them. So thanks to everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great weekend. Saturday is going to be 80 degrees. Let's go. And we'll talk to you next week on the Golf Dudes podcast. Deuces.